Welcome back to the channel, guys, and I hope you guys are doing pretty good. Now, in today's Study With Me session, guys, we will be focusing on learning two topics. One is CSS Selectors, and the second one is going to be Shadow DOM. If we haven't met yet, guys, hi, my name is Jatin, and I'm a Principal QA with 10 plus years of experience in automation testing. I help QA professionals transition from manual to automation testing while saving tons and tons of time. Now, guys, I have been training QA professionals for a very long time. And the thing over here, guys, is whenever there is going to be any Selenium automation round or let's say normal interview, question related to Shadow DOM is definitely going to be asked. Generally, when people are preparing for Shadow DOM, they only know one approach, that is to use JavaScript executor. But in today's class, we will try to look into a very different approach using which you can work with Shadow DOM. And I feel JavaScript executor is something which a lot of people find it difficult, but I can promise you that this particular stuff is going to be much more easier and you can quickly work with Shadow DOM. Now, for people like who are hearing this one word called Shadow DOM for the very first time, don't worry. And we also want to explain you why do we have Shadow DOM and what problem shadow elements are technically trying to solve. All right. Now, as I've said, this is going to be Study With Me session. So when we say study with me, it's about you and I. We will be writing the code together. All right. You don't have to worry about pausing this particular video. You can just let this particular video play on its own. Okay. You are going to get ample amount of time to write the code along with me. The goal over here when I'm planning these Study With Me sessions is that you should be comfortable that, okay, you're not getting just bored of just by watching video. I want you guys to quickly write the code. Okay. And by the end of this particular session, you should learn something. All right. So that's all what I wanted to talk about the introduction. Now, guys, for understanding CSS Selector and Shadow DOM, guys, I have created a dummy website and you're going to find the link of that dummy website in the description section of this particular video. So over here, guys, what you guys do is you visit the website jatin99.github.io/Shadow DOM assignment, or you can just simply click on the link in the description section and boom, it should open that particular tab for you guys. Now, over here, guys, we want to first understand about finding the elements with the help of CSS Selector. So what I have done over here, guys, is I have kept different elements, okay, on this particular page. It's a static page and our job over here is to find the various elements which is there. At the bottom, there is going to be this Shadow DOM element which we want to interact with. All right. Now, over here, guys, let's get started. Your job is to just observe this particular screen first. Okay. Now, let's say, guys, I want to find this particular element, which is this text box. All right. Now, over here, guys, how to inspect this particular element? How do you do that with the help of your Chrome browser? You're going to right click on that particular text box, click on inspect. All right. And it is going to open the elements tab for us. Okay. Let's delete this particular drawing. Now over here, guys, we have this input ID equal to email, placeholder equal to enter your email. Now you will notice that the moment I bring my cursor to input ID email, automatically this particular text box is getting highlighted. Yes or no? Perfect. Now, over here, guys, what I want is I want to locate this particular element. All right. But I'm not supposed to use XPath. I want to use only CSS Selector. Okay. We will write with the help of CSS Selector. But let's say, guys, if I ask you, write the XPath for this particular element, how are you going to write it? You are going to say that, Jatin, the element over here is input. So find anywhere on the page input. Perfect. Then ID equal to email. What is this ID? What is this placeholder? What do we call this? These are basically what you call as attributes. Okay, attributes. So what we will do, guys, we will say find anywhere on the page input that basically has an attribute. Whenever you're talking about attribute, you're supposed to use this @ sign. This @ sign basically means that you're talking about attribute. Which attribute I'm talking about? ID equal to email. So just write ID equal to email and put it in single quote, double quote, whatever you like. And voila, this is the XPath for this element. Let's cross check. Let's delete this particular drawing. Press Ctrl F, okay? Click on the inspect, press Ctrl F, and here I can write find by string selector or XPath. I'm gonna write the XPath, find anywhere on the page. Always read it out loud. The 2// basically means what? Find anywhere on the page. What? Input. Input, which basically has an attribute called ID. And what should be the value of ID? Email. 1 of 1. All right, 1 of 1. Quickly write this thing at your end. Okay, quickly write this thing at your end. Find the XPath of input ID equal to email. Write this thing at your end. All right, I hope you have written it off. Now, the thing over here, guys, is I don't want to use the XPath. I want to use CSS Selector. Okay, so over here, guys, if you notice, the CSS Selector is right in front of your eyes. Input hash email. This, what you see, is the CSS Selector. How it is different from this? Simple. What do you want to find? I want to find an input now. So this is the input. And input is having ID equal to email. ID equal to email. So when you have ID now, the short form of ID is hash. Make a note of this particular stuff. Short form of ID is hash. So over here, I'm going to put hash. Hash indicates ID. And what should be the value of ID, my dear friends? Email. Input, which has the ID email. All right. So let's write it down. I'm going to say input hash email. And you will notice that it works. I'm getting over here as 1 of 1. Is this part clear to everyone? Quickly write this thing at your end also. All right. I hope you have written this thing. Did you understand the first CSS selector? Hash. Hash means what? ID. Please make a note of this thing in your notebook. Okay. Hash means what? ID. Okay. Now, let's say guys, you say that Jatin, I don't want to use ID. I don't like ID. I want to use placeholder. How to use placeholder then? Simple. Remove this hash email. You want me to use placeholder, na? Input, square bracket. Placeholder is also an attribute. Don't put @ sign. Just write over here placeholder. Okay. Placeholder equal to, what should be the value? Enter your email. This is the XPath. Input, square bracket, placeholder equal to enter your email. 1 of 1. Meaning I'm getting this unique element. Okay, only one element is popping up with this particular locator. All right. Now, I hope you have understood about this particular locator, CSS selector. Now, cut action. Now, I hope you have understood about this particular locator. I want you guys to quickly practice ID and placeholder one more time. The more you write, guys, you're going to get a little bit comfortable with the syntax as well as the format of the CSS selector. All right. Now, guys, what I want you guys to do is we will be automating this particular page. Okay. How? We are going to go to our Eclipse and we're going to quickly create a project. Let's call this as a Maven project. Let's quickly create a simple archetype project. Click on next and let's give the group ID as shadow assignment. Okay. Copy this, paste it over here. Name also, I'm going to put shadow assignment. Click on finish. All right. So I got this shadow assignment ready. And in the pom.xml file, guys, we are supposed to introduce the Selenium WebDriver dependency. So I'm going to first introduce dependencies. Okay. And inside dependencies, that's dependencies. Okay. We are going to have the Selenium dependency coming into picture. So let's open a new tab, say Selenium WebDriver Maven, Selenium Java, click over here. 4.34, this is the version which I'm going to select. copy this particular dependency, paste it off, Control S, save it, and you will notice that Maven dependencies folder has come over here, and we will technically have the Selenium Java dependency popping up over here. Now, since we are using the version 4.34, someone on the YouTube asked me, Jatin, why are you using Java 11? Okay, the thing is, your Selenium Java version 4.xx, okay, any version which is greater than 4 is technically compatible with only Java 11. Okay, if you are still using Java, Selenium Java 3.1459, technically it is compatible with 1.8. So which Java version I'm supposed to select is decided by the library, the dependency that I'm using. Getting the point? So this Selenium Java version 4.34 is compatible with Java 11. So it's your responsibility that your project, your automation framework needs to use Java 11. Clear to everyone? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click over here. I'm going to go to build path, configure build path, go to JRE system library, click on edit and change it to Java 11, Java SE 11. Click on finish, apply and close, done. All right. Quickly introduce this particular dependency in your shadow assignment project. I'm giving you exactly 5 minutes. All right, guys, I hope you have created the project, added the dependency. Perfect. Now, guys, let's go to src main Java. Inside the src main Java, I'm going to quickly create a package. Let's call this particular package as shadow, I don't know, com.shadow.assignment. All right. And the thing over here, guys, is I'm going to quickly create a class shadow assignment. All right. That's what we're going to do. And over here, we are going to quickly introduce the main method. Boom. Control Shift F. Save it. Let's zoom in over here, guys. Let's close this particular chap. This also. And let's bring this guy a little bit down. Okay. I want you guys to quickly create a class called shadow assignment. Inside that, you introduce the main method. I hope this particular part is done by everyone. Can I go ahead? All right. Now, over here, guys. The first thing, we are supposed to launch the browser because we want to automate the shadow assignment website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say WebDriver WD, okay, equal to new Chrome driver. Now let me give you a small shortcut. All right. You see, I've written WebDriver WD is equal to new Chrome driver, and technically I'm getting these red lines, which technically means something is wrong over here. And the reason something is wrong is because it says WebDriver cannot be resolved into a type. We need to import your WebDriver and all, right? So what I can do is I can just press Control Shift and O. The moment I press Control Shift and O, automatically these two packages, or I would say these two components, are technically imported. The interfaces and the class, they are technically imported into our class over here. So we have the Selenium WebDriver as well as the Chrome driver coming into picture. Okay, pretty handy shortcut. If you want to quickly remove the unused import, or you want to make sure that whatever the things which are missing in your project and you want to quickly add it into your project or into your respective class, you just press Control Shift and O. Control Shift O. All right. Mac people, I think it's Command Shift and O. All right. Now, guys, the next thing. We are supposed to go to the respective website. So I'm going to say what wd.get. Let's go over here, copy the URL, paste it off over here, save it, right click, run as Java application. Waiting, all right, for the browser to get launched. And yeah, it works. Okay. But what is missing over here, guys? The thing is, this particular window should be in the full screen mode. Now, a lot of you guys, or technically a lot of folks love this line, wd.manage.window.maximize. Pretty good line. Let's save it. Let's click on the play button and it works. Okay, it's going to maximize it off. But the thing over here, guys, is there is something a little bit better than this. Okay, wd.manage.window.maximize, right? Instead of writing it over here, it's better that you launch your browser itself in the full mode. So instead of writing this, you can use something which is called as Chrome options. So I can say Chrome options. See, Chrome options is a class. What do you do of a class? You create an object. So Chrome options, this is the reference variable equal to new Chrome options. All right, take this particular Chrome options. To this particular Chrome options, I am going to add an argument, --start -maximize. Don't worry, I'm going to give you time to write. Okay, let me explain you each line also. Take this particular Chrome options, pass it off over here, save it. Let's click on the play button. Voila, done. All right. Now, guys, let's come back over here and let's discuss these 4 lines. Okay. Over here, guys. See. Let's focus on this line first. WebDriver WD equal to new Chrome driver. This is more like a Java revision that we are going to discuss. New Chrome driver. Okay. First thing, understand this part. Object. This is the object. If I ask you, object is created of what? Object usually gets created of which entity? I'm pretty sure from the other end, you guys are screaming class. Object is going to get created of class. Kudos, 100 points to you. But In reality, we don't say this particular stuff. We say object is always going to be created of child class. What? Object is always going to be created of child class. All right. What is WD? Okay, what is WD? You will say, Jatin, WD is a variable. Very good. Okay. What kind of a variable is WD? Reference variable. How do I know that this is a reference variable? Look at WebDriver. Look at WebDriver. WebDriver is what? You'll say interface. I know that it is an interface. Tell me something more about it. Okay. When I say integer x, float y, okay, let's say string, not string, let's put over here character z, int float character. What are these? Data type. What kind of data types are these? These are all primitive data type. These are all primitive data types. But WebDriver, is it already there in Java? Is WebDriver there in Java? No. It is a third-party library, Selenium WebDriver. We have added this particular dependency. Then I am able to access WebDriver now. So WebDriver, my dear friends, is a third-party library. It's not part of Java. It is user-defined. It has been created. It's an interface. So we say that this is a non-primitive data type. Non-primitive data type. So when you're having non-primitive data type, the variable which you create is always going to be reference variable. And over here, x, y, z, these are all primitive variables. They technically store the value. So when I say x equal to 10, x is storing. X is technically the name given to a memory which is having the value 10 inside it. So primitive variable directly stores the value, whereas reference variable points to the object. Now tell me something, where exactly the object is going to be created? In Java, object is created inside which memory space? Heap memory. How do I know that? New keyword. All right. New keyword. Wherever the new keyword comes into picture, it technically means that you're talking about heap memory. Chrome options equal to new Chrome options. This is the object. Object is getting created inside which memory? New memory. Okay, the heap memory. What is Chrome options over here? This is the reference variable. What is Chrome options over here? Okay, over here it is acting as my data type. Okay, and this is user defined data type. Okay, next. Over here to this Chrome options, I'm adding an argument ~start maximized. Okay, that is, I want the Chrome driver to launch my Chrome browser in full mode, in the maximized mode. Okay, and wd.get, it is going to load. Okay, it is going to load this particular URL, this particular web page on our browser. Is this part clear to everyone? I hope you have understood the 4 lines. Now, the thing is, most of you guys will ask me that, Jatin, can you just show these lines which I have written? And now I can't. Okay, so let me just rub this particular stuff. Okay, I'm giving you 5-10 minutes. Okay, and I want you guys to make your notes. New keyword is going to talk about which memory? Heap memory. What is this? Object. All right. What is Chrome options? Reference variable. Okay. Here we are passing the parameter double hyphen start maximized. It means that the browser needs to be launched in full mode or the max mode over here. WebDriver WD equal to new Chrome driver. Chrome driver is child class. All right. And objects generally gets created of child classes. This Chrome options, we are passing it as an argument to our constructor of Chrome driver, and WD, which is the reference variable, which will be majorly helping us to interact with the browser. So all instructions that I want to give to the Chrome browser, I'm going to give it with the help of Chrome driver. wd.get on the browser which is getting launched, go to this particular website. I hope this particular piece of code is clear to everyone. Quickly make a note of this particular stuff, quickly write it down at your end. I'm giving you exactly 5 minutes time. Start writing it off. All right, guys, I hope you have written this thing off. Let's save it. Let's click on the play button one more time. All right, it works. Now what I want to do is I want to enter some text inside this particular text box, but we are not supposed to use XPath. We will only use CSS Selector. So I'm going to right click over here. I'm going to click on inspect. Again, right click on inspect. You know that it is going to be input hash email. Input is the element name, ID is there. Since ID is there, you're going to use hash, the short form for ID, and the ID should have the value email. Just to write it again one more time, guys. Input hash for ID and it should be email. All right, this is going to be my CSS selector. Let's go back to our Eclipse. Now, guys, first thing, whenever you're talking about locators in Selenium WebDriver, which class comes into picture? Okay, the CSS selector, XPath, ID, name, tag name, link text, partial link text, all these locators that you have, they are of what type? By type. Okay, by class comes into picture. All right, so by, what is this? I don't know, some text box. Now, input text box locator equal to by.css selector. All right, and the CSS selector is going to be input hash email. All right, now guys, this is the rule which I follow. Okay, there is no I would say standardization on these things, but the thing is, whenever I create a variable of by type, I generally apply a suffix called locator. Okay, whenever I'm going to create a variable of by type, I am going to attach a suffix, okay, called locator. So input text box, that's what I want to interact with. All right, it's an input text box. And the thing is, since it's a by is always going to talk about a locator. So locator is getting attached over here. Now, if you notice, guys, by is also a class. Okay, but what kind of a class is by? By is an abstract class. Can you create object of abstract classes? No. Then how I am accessing all these things? If I go to by class, now guys, inside by class, your ID, link text, partial link text, name, tag name, XPath, okay, class name, your CSS selector, the 8 locators of Selenium WebDriver, they are all static method. So for accessing static methods, do I need to create an object? No, class name is enough. What is the name of the class? By. What is the method name? CSS selector. I am passing the CSS selector input hash email. Getting the point? Now, you're like, Jatin, why did you create by again over here? Observe carefully. This is the method, na? This is the name of the method. This is the parameter that I'm passing. What exactly is the return type of this method? Yes, the return type of this particular method is what? By. So this is the name of the method. Okay, your parameter is over here. All right, and it return type. It is returning me what kind of a data? By kind of a data. That's the reason, guys. Okay, over here I have by type coming into picture. Now, what I can say, wd.find element input text box locator. What does find element returns mean? Everyone knows that. Web element. Okay. Input text box. Again, press Ctrl Shift O. You will see that web element got imported. Getting the point? Now to this particular text box, input text box, I want to send some keys. I want to write something over here. Let's say, hello, save it. Let's click on save button. But before that, I need to put a semicolon, save it. I'm going to click on the play button now. Let's see whether it works. Works. So over here on this particular text box, hello is written. Is this part clear to everyone? Perfect. Giving you 5 minutes time. Quickly write this particular code at your end. All right, guys, I hope you have written the code. Now let's continue. Let's go back to our web page. Over here, guys, I want to focus on this particular element, header text. Right click, click on inspect. Now, the thing over here, guys, is observe, observe, observe. Div class header. Div class header. I want to print the visible text on my console. All right. So the thing over here is, I want to find this particular element with the help of CSS selector. What is a CSS selector? It's there in front of you. Div.header. So when you are talking about ID, the shortcut is hash. When you are going to have a class, the shortcut is dot. So when I say div, what is the name of the header or the class over here? Header. Div is the element. It should have a class. This is the class. What should be the name of the class? Header. Is this part clear to everyone? Div dot header. So now let's go back to our Eclipse, and I'm going to say by the locator div header locator equal to by.css selector, and the CSS selector is going to be div.header. Dot basically means what, my dear friends? Dot basically means class name. What should be the name of the class? Header. Okay. Web element div header equal to wd.find element div header locator, and simply I'm going to say system.out.println div header dot get me the visible text. Save it. Let's click on the play button, guys. And if I go back to my console, you will notice that header text is getting printed on my console. All right. Pretty easy, right? Okay. Just make a note of this particular point. Let's delete this thing. And over here, hash basically talks about ID. Dot basically talks about class name. And I'm giving you exactly 5 minutes. Write this thing at your end. All right, guys, I hope you have written this thing. Let's continue. Let's go ahead now. So over here, guys, let's go back to this chap, and we are done with the second type of your style of elements, and we are supposed to use the CSS selector. Next one, we have input name equal to username, value is tech with Jatin. And talking about Tech with Jatin, guys, if you haven't subscribed to this particular channel, please make sure that you do that, because I see that a lot of people are watching the video but they're not subscribing to the channel. Please do that. It really means a lot to me. Also, guys, if you are really enjoying the study with me sessions, you're learning something new, you are preparing, you feel like you're preparing for the interviews in a much more better way, hit the like button, and also make sure that you give your feedback in the comment section of the videos, because the more the interaction that is going to be there for a video, it is going to reach to the wider audience. Okay, a lot of people can get benefit of such videos over there. And yeah, it definitely helps us also to reach a wider audience in a very short period of time. So please do that, guys. Now, guys, coming back over here, we are supposed to find this particular input. Name is username, right? Now, is there a shortcut for name? No, there's nothing shortcut over here. So you're just supposed to write it like this, how I've written over here. I am going to say that find me an input, which basically has an attribute called name, and the value should be username, just similar to that of your XPath. All right, name input square bracket name equal to username. If I had to write it in the form of an XPath, 2/ input square bracket @ name equal to username. All right, but I don't want to use that. We're going to use this chap. All right, so over here, it's going to focus on this particular element. I'm going to copy this. Let's go back to our Eclipse. Let's search this particular element quickly. First, quickly create a locator by username text box locator equal to by.css selector. This is that CSS selector. Web element, all right, username text box equal to wd.find element by username text box locator, user text box dot send keys 1 2 3 4 5. So if I'm not wrong, after Tech with Jatin, 1 2 3 4 5 will be attached will be kept in that particular text box. Let's click on the save button and observe. Done. All right, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, right? Quickly do this thing at your end, guys. Quickly practice this particular stuff. Input name, username. All right. The thing over here, guys, the short form is only for your ID as well as class name. For any other attributes, you're supposed to write it completely. Name equal to username. All right. I hope this particular part is done. Okay. Can we go ahead? All right. Let's go ahead now, guys. Now let's go back to the page. I want to find this particular button now. Right click, click on inspect. Over here, input, let's right click one more time. This is the one. Button type submit. All right. Now, nothing is going to happen when you're going to click on this submit button, but still, let's just focus on how to find this particular button over here. So this is the button I want to find. So what do you think I should write over here? Button type equal to submit. What will be the CSS selector for this? Type equal to submit. Perfect. I want you guys to write first. Okay. Start writing it off. Write the CSS selector for button type equal to submit. Then I'll write. I hope you have written it off, guys. Is it done? All right. Now let me write it down. Button. Okay. So technically we have two button. This is first one. Second one is somewhere else, I believe. But over here, guys, I want to focus on this particular button, which technically has a type submit. So button square bracket type equal to single quote, double quote, whatever you like. But it is going to be case sensitive. So yeah, submit needs to be written in smaller case. All right. This is the CSS selector, button type equal to submit. Now, some of you guys will be thinking, Jatin, can we do something with the visible text over here? No. In CSS selector, visible text doesn't come into picture. Please make a note of this thing. If sometimes in interview they ask you the difference between XPath and CSS selector, remember, in CSS selector, you cannot use the visible text functionality. Okay, there's nothing to take care of this particular chap. I can focus on the attributes. But in XPath, I can do that. All right, XPath technically has that text method, no? So I can use the text method, I can get it done. So if I wanted to use the visible text, it would be something like this. Find me a button, okay, that has a visible text. So text method is basically for the visible text, and it should have submit with S capital. All right, this is the one. Okay, but I don't have this particular stuff in CSS selector. Is this part clear to everyone? Perfect, great. Now let's focus on the next one, which is combined classes. So over here, if you notice that this div technically has two classes, main and header. So how to pass multiple class name in the CSS selector? Very simple. Okay, it is a class, no? For class, what is the symbol? Dot. For ID, hash, right? So I'm going to say div dot. What is the first class which is coming into picture? Main. So div dot main. You will notice that it works. But let's say there were other elements also which has this div main popping up over there. So I want to use main and header together. So I can say div dot main dot header. All right, you would have seen it over here only, div dot main dot header. All right, so this is the CSS selector for this particular element. I'm going to copy this. Let's go back to our Eclipse. By combined div locator equal to by dot CSS selector. All right, this is the CSS selector. Just copy this line, paste it off over here, paste it off over here. Remove this chap. Oops. Let's remove this properly. Take this, sys out, combined div dot get me the visible text. Save it. Let's click on the play button. If I go back to Eclipse, bring this guy a little bit up, combined classes, voila, it works. All right, perfect. Quickly write this particular code at your end, guys. Giving you 5 minutes. Quickly write it down. All right, guys, I hope you have written the code. Let's go ahead now. And let's go back over here. Now something interesting, guys. We are supposed to focus on these items. Item 1, 2, 3. So over here, we have this UL which comes into picture. And I want to print the text item 1 on my console. So how to do that? Very simple. Okay. Li is there. Okay. But if you notice, Li is basically what? Li is basically child of UL. It's inside. Na? You see that there's an arrow which comes over here. So UL basically has 3 Li. The first one, okay, the second one, third one. Okay. And I want to print item 1. So technically this is printing, has item 1. This is active. So this is going to be item 2. And this is item 3. I want to print the text item 1. How to do that? Let's close this one. It's very simple. I can say UL. First find the parent. Okay. From the parent, I want to go to the descendant. Descendant means the child one. Okay. So you can put an arrow like this. Okay. And write Li. Li. UL, put an arrow, Li. So now it is going to find all the UL which technically has Li inside it. Okay. So there is a UL, Li. Then there is an Li. Then there is an Li. And there are technically 5, okay, of these Li's. So 1, 2, 3, if I scroll down, there is item A and item B. So observe carefully, second one, third one, item A and item B. Now, over here, guys, the thing is, if I want to just find the first item, then this particular stuff is going to work correctly. Okay, it's going to work correctly. Why? I'll show you. Let's copy this particular CSS selector. Let's go back to our code. I can say by item 1 locator equal to by dot CSS selector. This is the CSS selector. I can say web element item 1 equal to wd dot find element item 1 locator system.out.println item 1 dot get me the text. Now the thing over here, guys, that you should know about find element method. Okay, let's bring the cursor over here. Find element method finds the first web element using the given method. Okay, meaning you are having 5 Li's, right? But since I am using find element, it is going to give me the first Li only. Okay, because whenever the searching is going to happen on the page, it is always going to be from top to down. So the moment your Selenium WebDriver finds the first Li, which is technically the item 1, it is going to give me that particular element. It is not going to give me the item 2, item 3, all right, or you have others also, right? Item A and Li item B. It's not going to give us these. It's only going to give me the first one. Is this part clear to everyone? So please make a note of this particular point, that whenever you are using find element method technically gives the first web element, okay, with the respective locator. So if I save this particular chap, let's click on the play button one more time and let's go back to our Eclipse. Item 1 is getting printed. Hold on, I'm going to give you time. But let's say I want to find all the Li's. How can I do that? Find elements. Okay. So what I can do is I'm going to say wd dot find elements. Find elements is going to give you all the 5 Li's. I'm going to give the item 1 locator only, because with this particular locator I'm able to get 5 elements, right? If I go back over here, let's put over here UL, Li, you will notice I'm getting 1 of 5. So I'm technically getting 5 LIs. So find elements is going to give me list of web elements, and I can store it over here, list of web element, all right, which is going to be li list. Okay, Control Shift O fix the formatting, as well as Control Shift F to fix the formatting. Control Shift O is to just make sure that the import happens quickly. And now I can simply say system.out.println li list.size. So if I'm getting all the 5 elements, this is a list. This list is going to have 5 LIs. What will be the size of the list then? 5. All right, let's click on the play button. Go back to Eclipse, 5. All right, I hope this particular part is clear to everyone. Quickly write this thing at your end, giving you 5 minutes. Start writing it down. All right, guys, I hope you have written the code. Let's go ahead now and back to our page. Over here, we got the first li. Perfect. Great. But what if I want to get the item 3? I want item 3. Then how I'm supposed to do it? Over here, you can say, go into the UL. Inside the UL, you're going to find li. Put a colon over here, guys. Okay. And you're going to say nth hyphen child, nth hyphen child. Which child do you need? This is the first child. This is the second child. This is the third child. I need the third child. Okay. Nth hyphen child 3. Is this part clear to everyone? So if your UL is going to have multiple lists and you want to find a particular list or the li, you can just give the position like this, nth hyphen child 3. The same thing, if I wanted to do it with the help of an X path, I would have written something like this, 2/UL, all right, /li. Now I'm having 5 li's coming into picture, but I need the third li. So in the square bracket, I would have written 3. Is this part clear to everyone? Perfect. Great. Now, let's go back to our Eclipse and let's use the nth child method. I'm going to say by item 3 locator equal to by dot CSS selector. This is the CSS selector over here. And again, just copy this chap, keep it over here, take item 3 locator, put it off over here, put it off over here, remove the word locator, take this chap, and you know what we're going to do. We're going to say system.out.println item 3 dot get me the text. Save it. Let's click on the play button. And if everything is working correctly on our Eclipse, we should get item 3 printed. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Perfect. Let's go ahead, guys. Okay, I'm going to give you time to write. Don't worry on this one. Now, we have this nested span text. This is the one which I want to focus on. Right click, click on inspect this chap. So inside the div, there is a span. Okay. How to write the CSS selector for this chap? Just like how you have written for UL and LI. Inside the div, there should be span. So I would have written something like this. Inside the div, there should be a span. Done. Okay. Take this particular one, copy this. Okay. I'm going to say by nested span locator equal to by dot CSS selector. This is the CSS selector. Take this particular chap, put it off over here, take over here, put it off over here, remove this. All right, same stuff. All right, copy this, paste it off. Click on the play button. Now let's go back to our Eclipse. You will see nested span text getting printed on a console. All right, giving you 5 minutes, guys. Quickly write both the code at your end. Quickly write it down. All right, guys, I hope you have written this particular code. Now, guys, let's focus on some more functionalities of your CSS locator, okay, or the CSS selector over here. You have this checkbox, which is checked, right? Now, I want to find this particular input checkbox. You'll be like, simple, Jatin. What you're gonna do? You're gonna say, find me an input, which basically has a type, and it should be checked. Okay, spelling mistake or what? Let me just see. Right click, click on inspect. It's a checkbox. Checkbox. Input type equal to checkbox. All right. But I'm not supposed to use type checkbox. Let's say interviewer is telling me don't use any attribute. Then how you're going to do that? Simple. You see, it is checked. It is already selected. So I can pass that particular property input colon checked. So what it is going to do, it is going to select, or it is going to focus on the checkbox which has been checked, which has been selected. Are you getting the point? Perfect. Try to write this thing at your end quickly. Input colon checked. We don't need to write the code. There's nothing to do about this particular application. It's just a dummy website. So we're just playing around with different CSS selector. Input colon checked. All right. I hope this particular stuff is done by everyone. Now, let's go ahead and try to understand a little bit of wildcards. Let's go and try to focus on this particular link, which is login link. Over here, guys, I have this anchor tag, which basically has this href https://example.com login. Now, the thing is, I want to use something which is this contains attribute. All right. Now in XPath, we have the contains method. Now I can say something like this: find me an anchor tag that contains the attribute href and has the, I don't know, contains this href text as login, and it is going to focus on this particular element only. So href over here, guys, is having login. So that's the reason this particular XPath works. But the same thing, if I want to write it with the help of CSS selector, how can I do that? I will say A, find me the anchor tag that has href, okay? But href should contain what? It should contain login. So if I try to write this href equal to login, whether it is going to work, check, it doesn't work. So it is not going to work like this, because it is going to do the exact matching. I don't want to do exact matching. I want that it should check whether login word should be present in that href. So for that, what you do, guys, is you put a star. All right, let's zoom in over here so that you can see it properly. A href star. Star basically means what? Star means contains equal to login. So whether the href URL, whether it is containing the word login. Okay, quickly write it down at your end. Check it at your end also. So over here, guys, star means contains. All right. Next, let's say I want to find the input that has a placeholder, and placeholder should start with the word enter. Okay, how to do that? For that, I'm going to use another wildcard. Find me the input that has a placeholder. If I just write equal to enter, you will notice it doesn't work. But I want to find an input whose placeholder starts with the word enter. So for that, you're supposed to put this cap. Okay, like this. Okay. So over here, guys, input placeholder, this sign cap. This is basically shift and your 6 key. Okay. Above your 6 key, you're going to find this cap coming into picture. So input placeholder cap equal to enter. And this basically means that it should start with. Okay. I want the placeholder to start with the word enter. So there are two elements which has the placeholder and they both start with the word enter. Okay, this is the first one, which is this chap, enter your email. And if I go down, the second one is enter name. Is this part clear to everyone? Perfect. Next. Let's say, guys, I want to check that the placeholder should end with the word, some particular word. So let's say it should end with the word email. Then what I'm supposed to do? $. Okay, $. So over here, input placeholder $, equal to enter. No, there's no text box which ends with the word $. But I want to check whether it ends with the word email. All right. So there are two. Enter your email. This is the first one. This is the second one. And if I'm going to just change it to name, then it's going to only focus on this chap, because here the placeholder ends with the word name. Okay. So I hope you understood how exactly placeholder works, or these wildcard works. My bad. So over here, $, basically means ends with. Please make a note of all the 3 points and just play around with these various CSS selectors that we have created so far. All right, I'm giving you 5 minutes, guys. Just play around with your star, cap, and $. All right. Star means what? Contains. Your cap means what? Starts with. $, means ends with. Okay. Dot means what? What does hash and dot means? Dot means class. Hash means ID. And for anything else, let's say you are having type. So I'm supposed to write something like this: input type. Okay. That is the attribute equal to whatever the value is x, y, z. All right. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. If you want to focus whether the element is checked or not, okay, you can simply say input colon checked. For the li, guys, let's focus over here. Let's say I want to go and select the second child. How can I do that? ul, go to the li, colon, nth child 2. So it's going to focus on this chap as well as on this chap. Why? Because there are two LIs, no? Two LIs, this one as well as this one. Clear to everyone? Perfect. Great. I hope you have practiced this thing off at your end, guys. Now, let's go ahead with the next component of this particular page, which is shadow DOM. Now, over here, guys, let's try to understand what exactly is shadow DOM. Over here, we have this component header. Let's right click. I'm going to click on inspect. Now, the moment I inspect this particular element, I see that there is something called as shadow root. All right. And this shadow root is basically the child of my component. So over here, my component is technically having a shadow element. Now, what is this shadow element? Let's try to understand that with a simple example. Let's say, guys, I need to go to my desktop for a moment. Just give me a moment. Desktop. And I have created a folder which is called as shadow DOM. All right. Let me just open this particular chap in my VS Code also. And just observe over here for a moment. Don't do anything, just observe over here. See, guys, let's say I have a developer and that developer name is Arjun. All right. And Arjun has created this beautiful HTML page for us. Okay. So let's right click. Let's click on Reveal in File Explorer. Let me just run this particular stuff. This is the page which Arjun has created. All right. It looks good. It has its own CSS. Okay. It has some elements. And if I bring my cursor over here, you see the login is getting highlighted. So technically, guys, this is the CSS which Arjun has created and kept over here. Now, the thing over here, guys, is this style basically has some class. Dot word is coming into picture. Now, dot means what? Class. There is a header class. So over here, this particular class is technically used in the div section, div class header. All right. So whenever a div which is going to have class header, what all should be applied? The background color should be blue. All right. That's the reason, guys, you see that over here, the background color of the header is blue. All right. And font size is a little bit different. So font size is a little bit big over here. Font size is 24 pixels. There is a padding, there's a border radius and a lot of things which have been kept. Okay. Now, the thing over here, guys, is let's say he gets a requirement that he's supposed to use a third-party library. What? He's supposed to use a third-party library on the front end. Okay. Just like how we are using Selenium WebDriver. Okay. From the front end code, he has to use a third-party library. Technically, let's say he wants to add a calendar. All right. So this is the code of the calendar, which technically gets it from some library. And over here also there is a header section. The style is there. All right. So the word header class is available here also, which is in the third-party library and in the home page, which Arjun has created. Getting the point? And if you notice, okay, there is a little bit of problem. That is over here, guys, we have the home page background color as blue and the calendar has a background color called pink. Okay. So if I just go back and I just show you the calendar, this is how it looks. Okay. Now, the thing is, let's say Arjun decides to use this particular calendar in his project and he technically creates this particular code. Now, if you notice, something went wrong. What went wrong over here? This was original Arjun's page. So over here, guys, the color of the header should be blue. But because he is using a third-party library, which also has the class header, because of this, his own internal elements are getting affected. Okay. So over here, there's going to be a lot of spaghetti, a lot of issues related to CSS, which is going to come into picture, which we call as CSS leakage. Okay. This is CSS leakage because the CSS of one component, it is affecting the CSS of other component. Now, to overcome this particular problem, shadow DOMs gets created. Now, what is a shadow DOM? See, we have one HTML page. All right. Let's say this is Arjun's page. Okay. And what Arjun wants is he wants to introduce the calendar code over here. Okay. If he's going to directly bring this particular code into his main page, it is going to create issues related to CSS. So what he needs to do is he's supposed to encapsulate the code, okay, encapsulate the code into a different DOM. So when one page, one document object model, one DOM is having another DOM inside it, the inner DOM is going to be a shadow DOM. This is what you call as a shadow DOM. All right. A shadow DOM is going to have its own CSS, okay, own script, and they are not going to be affecting the outer DOM. Is this part clear to everyone? So technically, a HTML page inside another HTML page. Getting the point? So in this way, there is going to be no CSS leakage. All right. So over here, guys, when Arjun decides ki Baba, I have to use shadow DOM. So if I'm going to have this particular shadow-fix.html file, you will notice that he is creating a custom element calendar widget. All right. And inside this particular widget, there is a script which is going to be executed when this page is going to be loaded. And technically, it is going to create a shadow element. And that particular shadow DOM is going to have its respective CSS, like different font size, different elements coming into picture. And they are not going to be conflicting with the outer DOM. So if I go back over here and if I try to click on shadow-fix, you will notice that this particular element, welcome to Arjun's login page, this is also having header. This is also having the same class name, okay, but they are not creating a issue with each other. Getting the point? So that's what the purpose of shadow DOM is, and you just need to know this particular stuff so that you understand what is the whole reason of using a shadow DOM in an HTML page. Now coming back to our own page, guys, over here, guys, you will notice that we have this shadow root. And if I want to interact with this particular element, I can directly do it, okay? Because it also has a div class, right? So if I just say, find me a div, okay, that has a class header, it is only highlighting the outer one. It is not giving me the second one, which is this chap. All right, this chap is not getting highlighted, okay, because it also has a class header, because it belongs to a shadow DOM. Now, whenever you want to interact with a shadow DOM, the approach is a little bit different. So over here, this is the parent of the shadow DOM, my-account. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this my-account because technically there's nothing else to work on. So I can just say my-component, right? Oh yeah, my-component, my bad. Take this particular my-component. I'm using XPath, okay? And over here, I'm going to quickly create the locator. Let's delete this stuff. I'm going to say by my component locator equal to by dot XPath. All right. This is the XPath. I'm going to find this particular element. Put it off over here, put it off over here, remove this stuff. Now, within that my component, within the my component, I have the shadow root. So I'm going to take the my component dot get shadow root. This is the method get shadow root. And what get shadow root returns us? Bring your cursor over here. Get shadow root returns us a search context. Okay. This is a very important interview question. What is search context? Okay. Search context, guys, is a very special interface in your Selenium WebDriver. It is a super interface. What is super interface? What is a super class? Okay. Parent class are basically called as super class, right? So when I say super interface, it's a parent interface. Search context basically has two methods, find elements and find element. Find elements and find element. You have seen these two methods where? Selenium WebDriver, wd.findElements, wd.findElement. So whenever you're using these methods, it basically comes from search context. And in interview, they can always ask the question, okay, how many methods or what are the different methods which are there in search context? And you'll be thinking, array, how many methods are there? 2 methods are only there, find elements and find element. Okay. And the thing over here, guys, is WebDriver extends search context. So WebDriver has a parent interface and the name of that parent interface is search context. Clear to everyone? Perfect. Now, over here, guys, when you're using get shadow root, it also returns me search context. So I'm just going to say my component shadow. Okay. And let's do a Control-Shift-O to just import search context. And then I can say my component dot find element, because we can access that method now. It requires a locator. The thing over here, guys, is whenever you're working with shadow elements, you're only supposed to use CSS selector. Okay. Now, most of you guys will be thinking, Jatin, why you brought CSS selector if the topic was shadow DOM? Okay, that was the prep. Okay, so that you understand how to use CSS selector, because CSS selector is the only selector that you're allowed to use in your shadow DOM. Clear to everyone? So now I can say div.header. All right, I'm going to take this particular stuff and I'm going to say shadow div equal to, or shadow div locator equal to by.css selector. This is going to be that CSS selector. Take the shadow div locator, put it off over here. Okay, it's a find element. It's going to give me a web element. Copy it, put it off over here. Oopsie doopsie. Paste it over here. This is going to give me shadow div locate. Okay, shadow div element. And I can simply say sysout shadow div dot get me the visible text. All right. Now, if this code is going to work the way we are expecting, on my console, component header inside shadow DOM should be printed, right? Because if I scroll down, this is the visible text. All right. So let's go back to Eclipse. Let's click on the play button. And if I go back to my Eclipse, voila, done. All right. So if you're working with shadow DOM element, please make sure, guys, you can use the method called get shadow root. All right. This saves a lot of time. Okay, it's much more easier compared to that of your JavaScript executor. Just give it a try. I'm giving you exactly 5 minutes. Please make sure that you write this particular code at your end. Remember that whenever you're using or you're going to work with shadow elements, you're only supposed to use CSS selector. And I hope that whatever the CSS selector that we have gone through, you are crystal clear with that, because that's all is there in your CSS selector. It's very simple. And I hope that after watching this particular lecture, you are crystal clear with both with your shadow DOM as well as with your CSS selector. All right, so that's it for this particular class, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Now I'm going to see you guys in the next class. Don't forget to mark your attendance. Do let me know in the discussion section of this particular video whether you really enjoyed this particular session or not. And guys, if you're not part of the Tech with Jatin YouTube membership, you should definitely try it out. I think it's going to be really, really useful for you guys. So that's it. I'm going to see you guys in some other videos. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a great day.